Hi there, I'm KT Tunstall, and I'm here for A-Sides with John Chattman.
Well, what a lucky guitar that is to have you play it.
Oh man, what a lucky girl! This is a beaut. It's really quite a spiritual moment when you get an instrument for the first time.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. I'm so glad that we got it on camera.
Well, talk to me, because I mean, you just ooze happiness when you're playing those two songs, and then I read the press release, and it's like I was going to quit. So just talk to me about how you got to this point, because you're just oozing happiness.
It's been an amazing journey, not without a lot of pain. And the new record, Kin, is the whole theme of the record is about coming through very difficult things in your life and actually ending up better because of them, rather than in spite of them. And Kin are the good people that you find still with you at the end of that process. And you've probably shed a few people along the way. And they've shed you, you just grow out of one another. And so I made the last record. My father had died, my marriage had broken up, life was upside down. I was living in London. I've never connected with living in London. I love the city, but I don't enjoy living there. And I sold everything I owned and I moved to Venice Beach, California. And I'd been going to LA for years with the band, and LA was just getting wasted, seeing the sunrise and leaving. And that was my experience of it. And then I was put down by the beach because I had some work down there, and I saw dolphins jumping out of the water, and I borrowed a bike and I just cycled along the front of the water of the beach, along to Venice Beach, and found the canals and Abbot Kinney, which refuses to have a Starbucks or a Walmart or a Target. It's still kind of this really bohemian, characterful little bubble in LA where you walk and go on your bike. And I needed sanctuary. I really needed somewhere to heal and somewhere to get to know myself. I realized that I had become... Fame can be weird. It's really great to get well known, but it can be really strange. And I realized that as a person, I'd become entirely defined as a musician. And I knew that if someone took the music away from me, I didn't know who I was anymore. And I knew that that wasn't good. So I took off to LA. And I really was very interested in film scoring, and enrolled with the Sundance Film Institute and did their composer's lab up at Skywalker Ranch, George Lucas's place, which was awesome. It's kind of
badass.
like where audio engineers go when they die. It's like heaven. And I did it for a year. But during that year, inevitably, I'm driving around LA in my car, and I'm listening to Fleetwood Mac and Tom Petty and Joni Mitchell and Neil Young and these artists who made those seminal records in that place. And the connection between the hills of LA, the canyons of LA, and that music is really strong. And you can feel it and hear it, particularly when you're there. And so a year later, I'm waking up in the middle of the night with these huge, big choruses in my head. And my mind and my body are going, no, I was going to say,
you must have been fighting them, right?
I really wanted to take maybe 5 or even 10 years out to just live. I felt burnt out. And so I'm fighting this urge to make another record, and then they just keep coming, and the stuff is too strong for me to ignore. And it was really joyful. It was the last album. I love the last album. I'm very proud of it. Invisible Empire Crescent Moon. It was definitely like the soundtrack of a funeral, of not just my father's passing, but something within me. And this was the very unexpected phoenix from that's just come out and knocked me sideways. It was just completely unexpected.
So it's kind of a rebirth, this whole...
Completely.
Like a
part
reboot.
2. Welcome to KT Tunstall, part 2. It does feel like the beginning of the second half of life for me.
Now you're touring, I know that you have a bunch of dates now, and you just played a whole bunch of dates, right?
Yeah.
Returning to that last album.
Yeah.
It still must be an emotional kind of thing, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, Feel It All, the lead single from that track, was a song I wrote, started before my dad passed and finished afterwards. But it was also a time where I was finding new love, and there was many positive things to come out of that situation. And someone told me an amazing quote recently, which was that, and I think if you lose a parent, you kind of join a club. It might have a different effect on you, but it has a big effect. And it was that a parent gives birth to you twice, once when you're born and once when they die. And it was incredibly profound, that quote for me, because it really, my whole world shifted. And it was, of course, sad for my dad to go, but he was an old man and he was sick and he wasn't having much fun. And it was amazingly liberating to be free of not having to please my father anymore. As much as I loved him, he was a total taskmaster. Right. So just realizing and looking at him, on his deathbed, just going, I haven't got time to not do exactly what I want and follow the joy.
Talk to me about the new record, because I find like so many of the tracks, especially the second song that you played, it's so inspiring, but it's not heavy-handed, and but it's so hard to walk that fine line of like, hey, keep your chin up, and hey, keep your chin up.
I know. I think the difference with these songs, because they are quite anthemic and they are definitely, there's a message, but it's not me trying to preach anything to anyone. I'm actually just telling you exactly what my experience has been and how I feel. And so I think it's just I'm not trying to be grand. It's a really small personal experience that's in the songs.
But they're infectious,
I noticed.
And I think especially watching you play, it's kind of like hard not to get caught up.
Yeah, I noticed as soon as they were coming out and I started doing my demos on GarageBand, I was like, I need to make a record that people will dance to and cry to at the same time. Because that's what Fleetwood Mac does. Right. You're dancing away and then you're listening to the lyrics. You're just like, oh my God, I totally feel that.
I usually cry. It's that thing. I usually cry when I'm dancing because I dance so poorly.
Oh, come on, John Chattman. True. I don't believe it. We might have to see some proof.
There's probably proof.
All over the internet.
Yeah. You should see the hits that it gets. It's ridiculous. There's at least 6 people who were like, wow, that guy can't dance. Wow. So what's the next couple months look like for you? Obviously, I mean, it kind of goes with the territory. You release an album, you got to go out on the road, you do lame interviews with guys like me.
Come. So humble.
But, talk to me a little bit about, your next couple of months. I mean, because these months tend to fly by and then all of a sudden it's Christmas. So.
Well, one of the things I love about what I do, and one of the things I'd lost a little bit when I decided to take a break, was I don't want to know what's going to happen. And if someone says to me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, I'm not looking. I don't want to know. I want life to take me somewhere I wasn't expecting. I'm a very, very deep believer, however, in intention. And it's certainly done me proud so far as a musician. It can take a long time. But the more specifically that you can focus on your intention of what you want and not just say, I want to be a singer and I want to be famous. No. How many people do you want in your band? How many people do you want at your show? Which venues do you want to play? What color do you want your bus to be? I mean, everything. I just feel like the more you mood board and vision board that stuff, it's so much more likely to happen, because it's sure as shit not going to happen if you don't dream. Right. So with this record, what I really dreamt about was having this very overwhelming sonic experience at the show, because there's a lot of synthesizers, there's synth bass, there's old analog synths, and it's a very big widescreen cinematic sort of sound to the record. So I really wanted, regardless of the size of the space, to bring this really big sounding show, which is exactly, we did it like through the Highlands and Islands of Scotland to like 250 people in a pub, and they're like, it was like Johnny Be Good and Back to the Future, And so it was, so moving forward, it's really, I think for the first time in my career, I'm really enjoying being the boss. I didn't really like being the boss before. I just wanted to be in the band. And now I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be in charge of all of this. And I want to know what the potential is. I want to know where it can go. I've made a really positive record, and there's very dark places in the world at the moment. And I see that when I play these songs, I just see everyone grinning back at me. And I feel that that's worth a lot.
You mean the world is really a difficult place to live in right now?
It's just...
nonsense.
It depends what you read.
Right. Well, thank you for the record.
Oh, I mean, it's
awesome.
just been a joy. I have me and Tony Hoffer, who was the perfect wingman for this, with his experimental mischief and his great ear for the commercial aspect of a song. He helped me make something that I think has really got roots, as well as it's got the artistry as well as the pop, which is really cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much.